Hello everyone, it's Digital Player. I decided to do a review about Going to Seed. This is actually the first episode in a while central of Applejack and Apple. This episode was really unusual with that not seen. When I first heard it's going to be an Applejack and Apple Bloom episode, first I thought, okay, what's going to be about next this time? I mean, the first time we saw with, especially, well, with Apple Bloom and Applejack, it was when they wanted to say Apple Bloom was going to transport loads of pies to sort of a bio community. But here is another one of you seeing how Applejack's plans an ordinary harvest to go every, but Applebloom becomes obsessed to catching a magical creature that she thinks that can help them. Since it's going to be held there, the family of Applejack and her family are preparing for a rare apple harvesting event, which all the apples in the orchard turn red in the same time. It seems that Applejack has preparing for all that has been waiting for this rare moment. And that Big Mac has been up all night to preparing for this big event, like making a map for which schedules a tree not to miss. And also that they having, since they only not, they will only be Applejack, Applebloom, Big Mac, and Granny Smith to take care of this. So Granny Smith announced she had actually got some extra help. And Applejack was really happy to at least get some help since Twilight and her friends were busy at the school at the moment. So when she asked from who will help them, she asked if they were going to be Brayburn, but then, of all the suddenly, Goldie Delicious appeared through the door. We haven't seen Granny Smith, Goldie Delicious since Granny's Go Wild in season 8. Goldie Delicious is actually very, how to say, very interesting character. She is the historian of the Apple family. She knows almost basically all information about the entire Apple family history. Like, it was actually when it was actually her, the Apple siblings went to see to find some more information about the mother, and especially the parents. Turns out they found out they are half pear, half apples. But anyways, Going to Seed was more than I could expect for. Even to find out that with the Goldie mentioned the harvest that the apples could use the help of the great seedling, a magical earth spirit that has grants of bountiful and harvest to those who catch it. Applejack has since long dismissed the great seedling to be a myth, but she believes that Applebloom has outgrown this legend. But since Gold Delicious has been seems to be a very kind, not angry person, or a pony, but this time she actually snapped out of Applejack and saying that Great Seedling is not a mare's tail, as well as she is. And we had to realize the same thing for Applejack, seeing her sister thought that she had been grew past this obsession to find or even capture the Great Seedling. But it turns out she wasn't. Even that Applejack had tried to make a deal with Apple. But then we find out even more that even Applejack, during the last confluence or some sort, we find out that Applejack used to be like Applebloom. She was so obsessed to find this great seedling. And they also been seeing Bright Mac and Pure Butter for the first time in a while. I mean, we haven't seen much of them at all. We haven't seen them since the perfect pair back in season 7. Even if they didn't have any speaking line in this episode, but was still a great deal to see them again. Even if they didn't speak anything at all, just to see them how they interact with the family. Big Mac with his father trying to pull some wagon with apples, and that Peter Butter would have holding Apple Bloom as a baby, showing us that Apple Bloom, that the parents passed away sometime when Apple Bloom was still as a baby. Because we don't know much about that exactly. But it shows that we know for sure that they were still alive, at least at that time, at least. But this episode is showing us how much, and at least we've seen how Applejack realized it. And she even started to believe in the Great Seedling is a wheel. Because they discovered a part of the tree orchard had already been harvested. Because since Big Mac made a map of our entire farm, which apple trees were going to be harvested, or bucking, which they call it, seems to be had already been taken care of. Even Applejack and even Big Mac was curious, but Apple Bloom realized this must be the work of the Great Seedling. Even she was convinced it was him. But Applejack was not even remotely closely to admitting that it could have been Great Seedling. Perhaps she thought that maybe that they had done this, have been doing this, that they have been taking care of this harvest in that particular part of the tree orchard, but not remember it, which could happen if you remember, since they have a big farm with a lot of trees. So it would surprise me if they forgot they had already taken care of that part of the farm already, which would be understanding. But at the same time, seeing how almost like Applejack, that the Great Seedling could be real. So both Applejack and Apple Bloom decided to stay up all night to see if they can capture the Great Seedling. I mean, I can understand from Applejack's view, she wanted to find this Great Seedling not to be more than as a mere tale, or at least a myth, but also to prove to her sister that it isn't just a story has just been telling to Phyllis and Falls for generations. But for herself, she wanted to prove that this is just more than just a legend or a myth. Nothing is a whale. But this gives Applejack an idea to stay in the trees that hasn't been bucked yet, so that they can catch the Great Seedling off guard. Even they stay up all night waiting for the Great Seedling's appearance. But she remarks that the first time she's gone to seedling hunt with her sister. And then after a while, both of them fall asleep. And sometime middle of the night, I can understand they both want to find and capture the Great Seedling. So proving not only that Apple Bloom want to capture it and give the farm a great harvest the next year, but also to proving her sister that the Great Seedling is actually real and not as a story. And even that Applejack wanted to prove to her sister herself that the Great Seedling is no mere just a legend, a myth. Nothing happens. But then, middle of the night, this Great Seedling seems to appear and starting to hunting them, or at least chasing them. But it turns out when they actually got cornered around the barn, a tin turns out to be revealed to be Big Macintosh, who has been sleepwalking and bucking the apples for the past several nights due to his sleep-deprived state. And even the screaming woke him up. And I can understand from his view that he has been so tired after his sleepwalks. And because of that, we can even saw that in the beginning of the episode, he was so tired. He basically almost fell asleep on his pancakes for breakfast. So why wouldn't that seems any logic? Well, give her a thought about that. I mean, if you awake all night, made a map of the schedule of the tree, how much of the trees that to be bugging or at least harvest for the next day. I mean, if you spend almost entire night just sketching a list or a map for what part of the farm to be harvest. So I can understand from that part, from his view, it gets very tiring. And since the next morning, they had finally managed to find the cat collect all the apples in the entire harvest. Even if they had a schedule thanks for Big Mac's office during his sleep. Appleblom was very disappointed that she couldn't catch the great seeding before truly outgrows the legend. But Applejack admits though that it's funny, it was as having fun with friends and family is something no one never outgrows. And I have to agree with Applejack in that. Sometimes some parts in his stories or legends, you never outgrow them. You never do it. I mean, anyone can have so much fun to searching for a legend. For example, there are so many people in the US has been looking for one mythical creature, the Bigfoot or Sasquatch, and many people back in the UK have been trying to find Loch Ness monster for decades. So why not do the same, proving that the same case there? There are just a lot of people believing in that myth and still trying to find proof it still exists. That is almost the same case here for Appleblom and Applejack, since they tried to both Appleblom, but same stand was both to try to find the proof that the great seeding actually existed. And turns out something did happen. Even though it turns out there used to be this great seeding, not meant to be more than just Big Mac sleepwalking middle of the night to bugging apples. But more to them, just before Golden Research was on to back home, she noticed the tracks of carrots, similar to the great seeding tracks of apples, even though the apple family doesn't harvest the carrots. Realizing great seeding might still be nearby, and Applejack and Appleblom decided to go for another hunt. So, what is about this episode itself? Based in that, from what I can see, Applejack and Appleblom, we haven't seen much in the base episode used them together. At first seeing how much Applejack saying that this great seedling is just more than myth, but since Appleblom is still as a filly, perhaps 10, 12 years old or something, and that she still believes in this great seedling, and Applejack in her believes that her sister had grown past this still mere legend. But that Golden Delicious explains to Applejack that the great seedling do exist, and that no pony so far hasn't been able to capture it. And since it only appears during this rare apple growing event, so it wouldn't surprise me if even if this Applejack still thought at the first this is a mere legend. But even though it turns out she started releasing it, and that she started working with her sister to capture the great seedling. But also to me seeing Bright Mac and Pearl ever since the Perfect Pair episode in back to season 7. I could never ask for a more better episode than this. seeing how much bonding between Applejack and Apple Bloom that it has over past seasons. Even in the since episode Sisterhood Social, for example, and in the in this episode, seeing how much they've been bonding, even they had their differences because of their beliefs about the Great Seedling. But since Applejack later on seems to believe that the Great Seedling did exist. So, what do I say about this sibling bonding episode? Well, it was not bad at all. I mean, see, the was actually happy to see at least one episode about Applejack and Apple Bloom in at least this series before season 9 ends. So I'm just happy that the writers actually decided to make another one. At least I really hope for it could have been another one, and I really hope for it could be at least another has Rarity's Sweeter Belle episode as well before season 8 and the season 9 ends, and perhaps even more. Well, everyone, if you had your thoughts or opinions about the going to seed and about that, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, this is Switch Novel, over and out.